Good evening. This is Thurman Greco, and it's Let's Live, Channel 23 in Woodstock, educational television, and finally on YouTube, on the Let's Live with Thurman Greco YouTube channel. And we have got such an interesting guest this evening, and she already has some shows on the Let's Live YouTube channel, and you've already got some of your own shows. So now you're on several YouTube channels.
I'm everywhere. People are so sick of hearing about me and reading and everything.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because well, first of all, let's start off by introducing you. Tell everybody who you are. We don't need an introduction, but let's do it anyway.
Well, I'm Susan Saxophone, but everyone knows me as Fiona here in this land here, Woodstock.
So we have got Fiona as a guest this evening, and it is true that everyone does. We feel like that you belong to us for some reason.
I really do.
For whatever that is. But you just said something during quiet time. You just said that everybody's coming through this week.
Well, it's Halloween time.
Is that what's doing it?
Well, I think it is. I mean, I was thinking as to why, people always have said that the veils between the worlds are the thinnest around this time. It's easy to communicate with spirits. And I believe that a lot of it has to do with, we believe it to be so. We've always been told that Halloween's the time of the spirits to communicate. It's a supposedly scary time. I don't feel spirits and ghosts are scary at all. But a lot of people think that they may be. And we've been told, I think, since childhood or taught, or, it's been supposed upon us that is a time for hauntings and spirits. And, we wear masks at Halloween to hide ourselves from not to be recognized by the spirits. That's why we wear masks, by the way. So we hide ourselves from the spirits who are looking for us. It's an ancient holiday, Samhain. It's a pagan holiday. It's an important holiday for the Druids and the people of the old countries, and because of a sense of belief, I believe that's why the spirits think that they can come through stronger at this time. Because all week, and actually last week too, everyone who's come for a reading from me, all the relatives are stopping by. Relatives.
Really?
We have dogs. We have people from years and years ago, ancestors they haven't even talked about or thought about for years, are coming by name and going, "Hi, I'm here."
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, it's cute. It's really cute. And they're like, "Well, that uncle hasn't, I hardly even knew them. They died like 40 years ago." I'm like, "Well, they're saying hi now." And I'm sitting there, the names are spewing out of me. And sometimes I refrain from saying the names thinking that's a really odd name, like Evan or Irwin or Aunt Henrietta. And they're like, "Yeah, that's my aunt."
Oh, wow.
So I just say it when the names come. And
That's
chances
fabulous.
are it's a relative that they know.
That's wonderful.
And sometimes it's not. And sometimes it's just like I'm just spewing incoherent names that nobody knows about, but I say it anyway, just in case.
Oh, you mean you're saying names and then the person who is having the reading doesn't recognize the name?
Sometimes they don't, and sometimes they do. But if the names come to me, I have to say it. I feel compelled to say it.
How interesting.
And by 80% of the time, the names are people that they know.
Wow.
So, and the people just want to say hello.
That's wonderful.
Whether they're people or they're dogs or they're cats or
birds.
Sometimes birds.
Bunny rabbits.
Anything. And everything wants to be remembered.
They all come through.
They all come through.
And is this the year? Is this the week of the year, or does this happen?
It happens
at other times
all the time. But I've noticed recently, this past couple of 10 days, it's more. I'm more lightheaded. I'm hearing more clairaudient, which is, in case anyone doesn't know what I am, I'm clairvoyant. I don't think I can explain that. That's what I am. That's why I could do this. But everyone has psychic ability, but I specialize in communication with people who have passed. That's what I do. It's my job. It's a weird job, but that's what I do. And yeah, that's this week particularly. It's been more and more of that happening.
What about and during the equinoxes? Do these messages come clear again during the equinoxes or not?
Yeah, they're always there, but particularly on Halloween. I usually don't take any clients on Halloween itself.
Oh, really?
I usually keep that day off, but this year I do have one person coming.
How many people do you usually see in a day?
I only do one or two. I don't take more than that. I don't want to do more than that. So I can't really complain. I keep it very...
Well, and
Right.
if you limit it, then you're not
you're
not overtaxed.
If I do more than two, then I'll start getting like almost like groggy and
Yeah.
not good. Because it's a lot of energy coming out. And then it's also the emotions from the people. Because chances are they're going to cry.
Really?
It's a lot of tears in my line of work. Yeah.
Does that bother you?
No.
You know, healers experience a lot of tears.
It's a lot of release.
Yeah.
And the tears are good. I'd be more worried with people who don't cry or don't show emotion.
I know that when I first went to massage school, they taught us that if someone began to cry, that you stop the massage and you go and you hug the person and you offer support. You know, now this was back in the 80s and the 70s. And it has evolved now. We went through in the 90s, we went through, if somebody started crying, you just handed them a box of tissues. And of course, I've been at this so long, I don't know what the latest iteration is. But I do see it as a release, and I do see it because there's so many people who cannot cry.
And a lot of times people say, I don't know why I'm crying. A lot of the times they don't know, and they just they have to cry. So it's good. It seems to be helpful to people. I tend to just stand back and let it happen.
Yeah.
I'm not very cuddly. I'm not very huggy. I just kind of sit there and there seems to be like, when I'm at my little table, which is about as wide as this, I don't tend to be very touchy or feely.
Yeah.
It's a barrier a bit, and I have to keep that barrier with people.
You have to have a certain distance so you can do your work. You can't, I would think that it would be very hard to do your work if you have your own
I'm not huggy. The other thing is I really can't do what I do with close friends. Once a person becomes my friend, I can no longer do a reading for them.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, and that's okay. You know, I really can't, and I don't want to. They have to, and that's why it gets a little uncomfortable when people ask me, like, what do you think I should do? What do you think and I can't answer, and I'm seldom right, because I can't do it anymore.
Well, if they ask you, what do you think I should do, then you just answer as a person. Which is not the professional response.
As a person, yeah, I could answer as a person.
And I think that would be an acceptable answer.
Because every other information that comes through in a reading, I feel is I'm receiving it, it's channeled through me. I'm not thinking about this stuff when I'm sitting with a person. I'm not thinking at all, actually. I don't just think.
Open your mouth.
I just open my mouth and it comes flying out, and whatever comes out is what I say.
You talk about Halloween, are there other holidays, other days during the year when the news is particularly good?
Christmas and Christmas Eve.
Really?
Yeah. It's families tend to want to be together, and also it has kind of a magic storybook kind of fairy tale quality to it. And around that time of the year, particularly the week before Christmas, it seems like there's a lot of there seems to be a lot of spirit communication flying around. I can only describe it as flying around. That's really what it feels like.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
What about the New Year?
No.
That's not particularly important?
No. It doesn't feel any different than any other
time?
Yeah.
What kinds of questions do you like to get?
Well, my theory is that past, present, and future are all happening at once. So when anything that comes up regarding a prediction, I realize that it can be changed due to free will. But when I tune into a prediction, I believe it's because I'm tapping into a possibility of an outcome on another timeline. It's quantum physics, actually.
Yeah.
We're tapping into a timeline that we haven't gotten to yet. So I like prediction things, but it's not really like any knowledge that I have. It's not that I know these things, it comes to me, but I do feel that they can be changed by another probability. Everyone likes to hear happy endings and happy things, right? What I don't, I'll take that question and change it. What I don't like to hear answer questions for is about lost people or lost pets, because they seldom are found alive. And so often I'm called upon to help with a person who's missing or animal that's missing, and doesn't work out very well. It never has. When I was younger, when I lived in New Jersey, the police used to contact me a lot for missing children, and it never worked out. It was always a bad outcome, and I stopped doing that. And
good for you.
I didn't want to do it. And up here, maybe because we live in the woods and it's kind of country-ish, I get a lot of cats and dogs that go missing, and people are like, "Can you help me find them?" And it's not good, because chances are they're dead.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to contact the people back and say what I feel.
Yeah.
Because I get the image in my head of like, well, your pet's dead, but it's hard to say that.
Yeah.
But it's the other unusual thing, and there's so many unusual things, is I tend not to even remember the sessions with people. They come through and then it's gone. And it's also embarrassing because people see me on the street, or they'll come in the store like the next day or a week later, and they'll be like, "Well, remember what you told me?" I don't even remember who they are.
Well, don't you think? I mean, I have that as well. I have people who come up to me. I have seen after a certain number, it's hard.
I know.
And I am triggered to memories based on what people wear and the surroundings.
Do you find you remember faces more than names? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't
names
remember names at all.
Not at all. I had two women who came in that I saw them over 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, when I had the big store, the White Griffin. And they came in like they were the best friends of mine. They're like, "We saw you, you remember us?" That would be going back about 15 years. I had no idea who these women were. I felt so bad because I really didn't know who they were.
But you can't, the brain can only absorb so much. I mean, after a few minutes it'll come back, but at the moment, not
But
really.
even, no. Well, I had a kind of, God, I've had such weird things lately. I had a woman who, her husband had been missing for a while, and this is a terrible kind of story, but like the police had found some bones in a campground.
Oh my goodness.
And wouldn't you know, of course, she brought a couple of bones to me, asking me, "Are these my husband's bones?" The police took some and then she brought some. And I'm like, "Well, I believe that they are." And it's hard to tell this woman that, "Yes, I think your missing husband's dead and these are his bones." The worst part of it is she's like, "My son is outside. Can you go tell him?" So I had to go out and say, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong at this time. Please tell me please tell me if you find out differently, but I think that your father may be dead. But this is just in a day's work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh God, no, I hope not. Now I haven't heard back, but I don't know if it was true or not, whatever, but it's been in my mind, like the woman with the husband's bones and stuff, and sometimes I don't want this responsibility. It's outrageous.
I think
It's
for
outrageous.
some people, your career field, well, it's always stressful, no matter what phase you take. But once you start talking to the police,
Yeah, I don't like that.
then you go into another realm because nothing is going to come out good.
Nothing's going to ever come out good about
That it's not going to come out good because otherwise you wouldn't be dealing with the cops or the FBI or whatever it is that you're dealing with,
Yeah.
or the Marshal Service or whatever. It's just not. So you've got this that you're facing every day.
Well, I'm not a calm person to begin with, and I'm not walking around with a tremendous ego anyway, so it's kind of interesting because I wake up every day going, I can't do this, how am I going to do this, I can't do this, and then I go do it. And strangely enough, when I'm sitting at my little table, I am calm. It's after the fact that I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do today?
Yeah, what did I say?
What did I say? What did I do? So it's hence the reluctant psychic. That's where that came from. Because I always was like, I can't do this, I can't do this. And yet I've been doing it now for, 38 years or more. And I'm still doing it. I'm doing it more than ever. I'm going strong.
Well, you're doing it more than ever because more and more people are coming to you.
And more people believe in this world of technology. I have not yet been replaced.
Well, that's because the quantum physics thing,
I haven't been replaced. You can't. I mean, you could get your tarot cards on a computer read. You can do a lot of things like that, but
you can't.
You can't really, because the real information that comes through a being, you can't really get through electronics. I don't do phones, and I don't do Skype or any of that. I do everything in person. And that annoys people. They want me to do it on, internet and stuff, but I'm not.
Oh, no.
I won't. Oh, that would be overwhelming for me.
Well, when you talk to a person over distance, do you still receive the energy?
I think it gets muddled by the electronics of the phones or the computers.
So it gets muddled by the electronics, but you're not talking distance. You're just talking about the electric waves.
Yeah, and I just don't even like talking on the phone as it is. I'm uncomfortable on phones. I've given up actually talking on phones.
Oh, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, I've completely given up cell phones or everything. So, I would never do a reading on the phone or anything.
And just not talking on the phones. Do you know how many hours you have given back yourself? I mean, people are on
People
phones.
are always staring at their phones. It's unreal. And I mean, I'm not missing out on anything. I know that.
I don't think so.
I'm not.
I do feel that a lot of people are addicted to their
They're
phones. I don't hear that people are addicted to their computers,
No, it's
but
the
they
phones
are
because
addicted to their phones.
They can carry them with them. They're with them all the time.
And of course now our phones are not phones anymore, they're computers, they're something else.
Yes, they are.
They're highly portable.
Now, I just was talking to a client today about this. Now, spirits, because they're made of energy, they can communicate on digital devices.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That's happened a lot, where people have said that, I've had a phone call from my deceased mother on the phone, and I didn't answer. Oh, well, I didn't want to. But a cell phone. But people have had their mothers come through on the phone.
So the phone rang and you realized it was your mother. And you
Well,
just
it was a phone ring. It was right before my book came out, and it was like a month before my book came out. And it was on a cell phone that was no longer used as a cell phone. I was just using it as a music device. And it said incoming emergency phone call. It said written on the front of it. And it had the date of her passing, March 10th.
Wow.
And I was so scared to pick it up. That scared me. That was one thing that actually threw me off. And I knew that she didn't like the book.
Oh, really?
Oh, she would not like the book. So I knew she was going to scold me for it. She was like that. So I didn't answer. I never heard from her again. She never came in dreams. No communication. But it actually said March 10th. Her death date came up. And that story ended up in the New York Post. So everyone knew about that anyway. Yeah.
You know, I'm wondering what do you think? We run across a lot of people that, and relatives that are not your best friends.
Oh boy, yeah.
And then when you pass, when you die, are they your friend then?
I haven't had that experience.
Really?
I think that, well, they have to grow to a different level. They have to allow themselves to grow.
It's all about forgiveness.
It's all about forgiveness on both sides.
Wow.
And some people stay the same. They stay the same vibration. They don't grow. And it's just not, I think that it's kind of an old-fashioned thought that once you die, you become an angel. Well, I don't think they become angels. I think they have to grow to become more aware and see what's been going on, what they did. Take into consideration what they did when they were alive. Kind of like Ebenezer Scrooge,
Yeah.
And unless they come to terms and get their consequences of what they've done, they may never grow.
Some people do not grow.
Some people don't grow.
I had a cousin. Her name was Alice Jane, and I'm assuming that Alice Jane still exists. And from the time that she was like 17 or 18 years old, Alice Jane knew the answer to all of life's questions.
See?
And the last time I saw her, she was in her 50s, and she was still maintaining those same beliefs. She was still she had the same hairdo, the whole thing, and she was a time lock.
Yeah, they should stay the same.
And I don't say that critically. I was just like amazed when I saw her, and I realized you have not aged spiritually or emotionally 1 second.
They stay a lot the same. I know in the readings with people, a lot of the times, particularly fathers who have left the families, they tend to come through wanting to make up for lost time.
Oh, really?
And during the readings, it's interesting because the daughters or the sons end up forgiving their fathers. Because the father, even if he died like 25 years ago, the father's standing there. And a lot of the times, the father might be holding a whiskey shot glass or something, just because to say that this is them. This is how they're identifying themselves, so I'll describe how they looked maybe 35 years ago, and they'll be like, "Yeah, that's my dad," and the person who's coming to see me has to kind of like decide whether they want to forgive their father.
Wow.
And sometimes they do. And sometimes they're like, tell them to go.
Really?
Yeah. And sometimes mothers who die like a year ago, they're like, you don't want to talk to her.
So what happens? Mother dies, and she wasn't, it didn't go out on good terms anyway. And then you die, and you go to wherever you go, and I've never figured that one out. And there she is. Are you friends with her then or not?
I think you could be. if you want to be.
You
If
know,
you want to be, it's all as if you want to. If you want to see it.
what
You
is
might
your
not even
desire?
see it. It's what your desire would be. My desire, I want to come back.
Oh, that's interesting.
I want to come back and do it right
The next time.
the next time around. I
So,
don't want to stay in the heavenly realm.
if you come back, are you still in this tribe?
Maybe. Yeah, probably the same soul groups. That's the other thing that's happening this year a lot. A lot of the same soul groups are coming together. People are meeting people that are very, very intricately connected to them. And they're recognizing themselves and they're staying together. And it seems a lot of this since the pandemic has come about. People are like, I met this person and I feel like I've known them forever. People are finding each other again. It's interesting.
That is a very interesting thing. There's something that has been happening this last summer that I have been trying to decipher. And that is, people are coming to the flea market. And when you chat with them, you realize that we are all together. We've all had some very close, similar experiences. And here we are on this patch of grass.
Yeah.
And I don't know their names. I don't, if I saw them on the street, I wouldn't. But while they're there, standing there, talking to me or talking to the woman who has the booth next to me or on down, I just realized, thank God, it's an awful small world. I mean,
The world is amazingly small, ridiculously small. It's preposterous. I walked out of the sushi place in Kingston to actually literally bump into a girl that I went to England with 30 years ago,
oh my gosh.
that I hadn't seen in 30 years,
Wow.
who, out of nowhere, she lives up in, Margaretville, and I hadn't even seen her. How does that happen? It's just ridiculous. We just literally bumped into each other.
So it's just the energy is bringing people together.
Yeah.
And of course, to me, I see the similarities. And I realize, okay, you had this experience, I had this experience, she had this experience, and we didn't know each other really then, but we all had this experience. And now we're all wandering around in this grass now. And I don't even I'm just observing this. And if this is happening on this little patch of grass,
It's happening everywhere then.
right.
Yeah, it's happening everywhere.
So everyone is clustering.
They're clustering together and they're making amazing connections. It's really something right now. More so than ever.
What do you think is the outcome?
I think it's kind of like the tribes are gathering together to be stronger as people, to make a stronger civilization. It's kind of like gathering before the war, because the world is we have to kind of fight this with the environment and everything that's going on, the people, the riots, the whole thing. I mean, it's craziness. You know? It's not peace. It's not
No,
peaceful.
it is
It's
not
There's
peace.
no peace around.
No. And one of the things, and this is because I am so preoccupied environmentally, is the fact that I realize that we are in this we are in this
We're in
together.
this together. We are.
Whether we like it or not, we're there. But the planet is so dirty.
It's so filthy, and it's humans that did it.
And how can we get out? I don't think we
We
can.
can't. That's when I'm hoping the aliens will come down and do something. Clean it up for us.
So I
Do
can knock
something.
on the door
Yeah.
of the UFO and say hi.
Something to fix this mess, if they can.
What do you think? Do people come to you and ask you about the pandemic?
Yeah, I this sounds like a pompous ass thing to say, but I'm going to say it. I predicted it 5 years ago, before the book came out. I said there was going to be a pandemic that came in 2020. I said 2020, not 2019. And it was going to be airborne. And it was...
And when you said this, did you say what was going to happen? Or did you just see
No,
the
I said
event?
everybody wearing masks. I saw smoke over in New York City, and then I said it's going to look like it went away, and then it's going to come back in a different form. And I'm not sure we'll ever have to stop wearing masks at this point. It's just going to morph into more things. I like to say it differently. I do think it's important to get vaccinated. I mean, we might as well.
Well, yes. For
It's
me,
kind of
you
ignorant
do.
not to.
It only makes sense.
It makes
you know.
sense. They're
I don't.
there.
And when I run across people who are not getting vaccinated, I don't understand.
I don't
but-
understand it either. It's completely ridiculous to me. It's, and I just don't get it.
But you did get the pandemic. You got that.
I got the pandemic. I got the after effects. It's kind of like a Mad Max scenario in my mind. But then again, I'm very dramatic.
Yeah.
So I hope it's not going to be that bad. But I don't see it all like light and fluffy ending. That's why I keep saying I want to come back.
Yeah.
I want to see how it's all going to end. I'm not afraid. I just want to see where this is going to go, how this could get better, or if it's going to get better.
Well, it's an interesting thing because we seem to be really losing population.
But people are still having babies.
I know.
People are still having babies. It's kind of weird.
And I see them
Yeah.
walking around with their babies,
Yeah.
and I don't know.
It's like they're not aware. Are they not aware? Maybe they're just thinking it's perfectly okay.
Go into denial?
In denial. There's a lot of denial going on.
Is there really?
I think so.
When people come to you and ask you questions, do you ever tell them they're in denial?
Yeah, I'm incredibly blunt with people to the point that maybe people get angry.
Well, I mean, you
But
know.
what's the point of coming if you're not going to listen to the answer?
Right.
I mean, they don't want to hear some things. And this is a whole dichotomy here going on with me, that I'll say something negative, and then I'll feel guilty about saying it. But I can't help what's coming out of my mouth, and then it's constantly a struggle for me.
Let me ask you something. Is it because that once you say it, you begin to process what you said?
I can't take it back once it's
Right,
out.
and so you have to process it.
Yeah, but I don't even want to think about it once it's out, so I'm not even sure I'm processing it. It's like if people say, I'm finding myself doing more medical things too. People are coming and asking medical questions. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. Obviously, I have no medical background in any way. And yet they're asking me about, I can't even believe I'm admitting this because it's like medical things.
Yeah.
And I'm telling them about stuff that I have no way of knowing. But I do.
Well, I think that's because so few people are getting health care nowadays.
And even medication that people are taking, I've often said, this is how ludicrous this whole thing is. Don't take the little white pills, take the green oblong pills. Isn't that good? Am I in medical malpractice waiting to happen? But I don't know what the pills are.
Right.
And they're like, yes, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. Well, but we quit going, generally, people quit going to doctors over a year ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And when they started having televisits,
That doesn't work. That doesn't work.
and I notice that going to my own physicians, that what I'm receiving that's called medical care, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
I
because,
doctors.
the doctors and nurses are as stressed out as everybody else is. They're not immune from anything either. And they see what's happening. Everything's falling apart. And everybody's gaining weight or losing weight, whatever you do when you're stressed out completely.
Well, the other thing is that even though, like, when I so often doubt what I say, the thing is, I don't advertise, so people don't have to come to see me. They don't have to come. So I'm not, like, advertising, I'm not promising
Right.
anything. Does that make sense in a weird way?
It makes a lot of sense.
I'm not sitting there saying, I will tell you this, I will tell you that. I'm not
Because you don't advertise, they have to find you.
They have to find me. I'm hard to find, particularly since I don't answer the phone.
Right. So how do they make appointments?
Make appointment on, I have a website.
And that's
make appointments, and I'm booked until right now the end of January.
well, this is like November, December.
Yeah.
That's 90 days.
Yeah.
That's far enough.
That's far enough.
Right.
So I mean, the thing is, it's always been like this. Always. I never had to advertise. People be like, why don't you advertise? You'll have more clients. I don't want any more clients.
I got enough of those.
I can't even believe this because I don't even know how any of this is happening. It's happening so fast all the time around me. But at the same time, what I do has its drawbacks. I mean, I've never driven a car. By my choice, because I'm in another world. I don't want to, I'm not grounded. I travel around in my head a lot. I'm not the most, I couldn't work in an office, let's put it that way. I wouldn't be a very good secretary, or,
You might be better than
any
you
of that.
realize.
Maybe. Well, I'm not going to be a politician, that's for sure. Probably never a teacher or anything. Yeah, so I do what I do.
Do people ever contact you and want to know about, what's happening on the planet?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
What's happening with our government?
Yeah, I predicted Trump.
Ugh. Is he over?
No.
Right. That's not going to end.
Till he is gone.
Well, but then we have the memory and the statues and
The orange memory. The memory of the orange man.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's one of those things. It's just I'd rather not even go there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
But at the same time, I don't let this stuff get to me. I'm not into conspiracy theories. I'm not into I'm not believing or whatever. I know it sounds so flaky, but I'm just going to enjoy life until I die. My attitude is not to worry about it and sit around and,
Well, the thing about a lot of the conspiracy theories is a lot of them just don't make any sense.
They don't make any sense. Everyone's so afraid of everything. I'm not afraid.
I mean, if they make sense, but if they don't make
It just doesn't make any
sense.
sense. It's silly to waste your time thinking about this stuff. I don't watch the news.
No.
No.
Well, I have no TV, so
Oh, that's good.
here I have Channel 23.
Yeah, no TV. Yeah.
But I don't have my own TV.
No.
So what are some things that a person needs to do to prepare for an appointment with you?
Nothing. Actually, just focus what they want to know. Because I don't want to talk to a person at all before they sit down. No talking, no nothing. Just come in. If they want to bring a picture of anybody that's after the person comes up in a reading, they can show me a picture.
But not before.
Not before. Nothing before. They just sit down with me and I just talk. I'll just give me your first name and your middle name. That's all. I used to do psychometry, which is the feeling of objects. But then I felt that we didn't even need to do that anymore. Because every object has an energy about it. Piece of jewelry, car keys, anything. But now we don't really need that.
So if you used to do that, then you were finding lost people? You did a lot of lost people.
Yeah.
So if you don't touch keys anymore, then you're not doing that anymore.
No, but I often know when they're not here. Like, I'm not doing lost people or lost pets.
Anymore.
No.
So what is the main thought? What is the main question?
Everybody wants love.
Everybody wants love.
I don't care if you're old, young, married, single, whatever. It's love and family and money. Love, family, money.
What do you say when somebody comes to you and says, is there love out there for me? Is there a person for me?
Well, for one thing, they have to go out and find them. A lot of times people tend to think that they could just sit in their house and love will find them. And chances are that's not going to work that way. And there are some people who are just destined not to be with anyone. And that's sad. I had this woman that was a lovely woman, but she's just cried and said that she was so lonely. And she's not going to find anybody. And that was sad because everything about her was solitary. The energy about her she was boxed in solitary. And that's a tough thing because you don't know I didn't know what to say. But there's always a chance, like I suggested, I think, that she took her dogs to a dog park or something and maybe be more sociable, go out there. Because I kept thinking that perhaps if she made an attempt, focused on perhaps opening herself up to that, because she already has it in her head that was never going to happen. So a belief and intent make things happen.
Intention.
Always. Intention there. Of course, the power of words, people saying, I'm never going to find anyone, that's not good. You're already telling yourself you'll never find anyone. Then, of course, people find people that are absolutely horrible for them. And then they stay because they think they can't do anything better.
Right.
And that's also...
That's worse.
That's worse. That's the abusive relationships that come through. So then that's tough because you have to convince them to leave that person. So, I wear many hats in the job that I do. But it's all, like I said, it's all information that comes through. It's not my knowledge, really.
Sometimes I feel when a person doesn't have anyone, or if a person does not have children, and the person says, I really wanted all my life to have children, and these children just never appeared. I have a feeling in my whatever that maybe they had all those children already.
I think so too. I think it was probably a past life that they had a great deal of children, and this time they're not supposed to.
Right. Maybe they needed a rest.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
A
lot of these lifetimes, these incarnations, are based on what we've dealt with in past lives. Past lives are very, very important. I don't think that people give them enough attention of who we used to be. Unfortunately, I myself am a little bit in a rut with past lives because I've been doing this for many, many, many years. And I think it's the same thing over and over. You remember what you were?
Not really.
You're probably a healer. Of course you were.
I did a past life regression. I was in a school, and it was an exercise I did for a class with Alberto Violdo. And I did see myself as a healer.
You were a healer.
As a doctor.
And you did tinctures, though.
I didn't get that far, but I did see myself in the past,
Yeah, I absolutely. I remember, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. I remember. I probably knew you.
Oh, that would have been fun.
I remember when I was young, there was a Disney movie called Thomasina. You remember Thomasina? It was like, okay. There was a witch woman in Scotland who lived in the woods, and people would bring sick animals to her. And I looked at that movie as a little girl and said, that was me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I remember that. And I wanted to be her. In a way, I am her. Except it's not sick animals, it's people. Yeah, in a different way.
There's not that much
It's not
difference.
that much difference.
There really is
No,
not.
there isn't.
You know, in my work with animals, we forget as humans why we came on Earth. You know, what am I in this incarnation for?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's forgotten by the time we're in preschool or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, what happened in a past life, the pathway, that's long gone. But you have a dog, or a cat, or a bird, or whatever it is you've got, they remember.
They remember everything.
They know why they're here.
Mm-hmm.
They know how they got here. They know what the path is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And for some of them it's hard, and for some of them it's not, but they do know why.
They know why they're here, yeah.
And if we could just for a few minutes, get back to why are we here? Of course, if you are 45 years old, I just pull that out of the air, but if you're an adult and you've got your job or your family and the kid, you got yourself all locked in, why ask? I mean, because if you're in the wrong place, it's going to take a heck of a lot of of effort to pull yourself out. I mean, you dug a hole, you know.
Yeah, but so many people are so unhappy with their jobs. So many. That seems to be another big thing. Most people want to leave their jobs and do something else.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's so important to one thing I constantly end up telling people is to remind them just to enjoy your life. It's okay to have fun. You don't have to be so diligently working all the time and have this great sense of responsibility. Basically, I'm telling everyone to be juvenile delinquents when I'm doing my readings. It's like, skip your work days, go have fun and drink some wine and enjoy your life.
Well, I think some people are doing it now.
Good.
We have all these people that have quit their jobs.
Good. I'm saying good.
They have these crappy jobs that don't pay anything anyway. And a job doesn't have to be crappy.
No.
If you work at the window, the drive-through window of Dunkin' Donuts,
and you enjoy it.
Taco Bell.
If you're having fun.
Hey, hello, how are you? Enjoy your coffee or your iced tea or what. You can. You
but if
really
you're miserable, then stop it.
Yeah, go
Just
find
stop
something
it.
else.
Because there's too many people who are just miserable doing stuff that they hate. And I don't think that's not what life is about. I think life is about enjoyment, having fun, and being able to raise your vibration to a whole nother level.
Well, and seeing the spirituality of what it is you're doing.
I had it's a sweet story. It's a little sad. I had this one woman, and she was not that young. I mean, she had to be in her 50s, and she came to me recently. Her question to me was, would she be able to eat meatballs in heaven? Because she really liked meatballs.
Oh my gosh!
And I was a bit taken aback a little bit. I said, "You wanted to eat meatballs in heaven?" I said, "I'm not sure you can eat in heaven." I said, "I guess you can have meatballs." She said, "You mean there's no meatballs in heaven?" And I said, "But you're going to be a spirit. Don't you want to go to a higher vibration?" I started to get like a little, is it all about meatballs? Is it only about meatballs? I felt like I was in a comedy. And she's like, "I really like to eat meatballs. So you're telling me there's no meatballs in heaven?" And I said, "Well, if you want it to be meatballs in heaven, I'm sure you can have meatballs in heaven. But it is about..."
What was she really asking?
I guess she wanted comfort and peace.
I have no idea.
But it was, why was I so disturbed by it?
Well,
It felt like,
it was kind of off the wall.
I felt there was a little bit of I felt annoyed. I felt like saying, meatballs in heaven. There's no meatballs and there's no heaven. I didn't say that though, because there is a heaven, I'm sure. I'm not sure there's a meatballs though. Meatballs in heaven. Why would you want to eat meatballs in heaven?
Well,
Isn't heaven more than meatballs? Come on.
yeah, you start thinking about the human description of heaven, and you've got all these angels standing around with these gorgeous wings, and they're singing. And I was the tuneless wonder. So where am I going to go?
That's not your heaven. And being a vegetarian, her meatball heaven's not my heaven either.
My father's house has many mansions.
Well, she's going to be in a nice Italian restaurant. And I'm not going to enter. But it was so odd that it was one of those things that was like this, looking at her, going, you've got to be kidding. I didn't say that, but I wanted to be like, we're all talking about spiritual growth. We're having these big conversations. And this old woman who works at a school was talking about meatballs in heaven.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Well, I don't know.
I have to temper myself as far as not being so.
I really don't know. What does happen when we die?
I think you get what you want. So basically, I mean, if her heaven's sitting and eating meatballs, maybe that is her heaven. Maybe that's what she's going to get. I want to see my animals again, and a few people I love.
That's really words. You said the magic words
The
there.
animals, I want my dogs.
All
to
the
come
little
by,
doggies and all the kitties.
That's what I want. And I want to be able to go to my favorite places and flit around to my beautiful England and stuff like that. I want to see the people I love, a few.
And enjoy this.
And enjoy that, and be able to be
And
free,
not feel
free
the
of the physical
stress.
body. Slip off the physical body as though you're slipping into something more comfortable, which is a body of spirit.
Well, I guess when I go to heaven, if I want to be an angel that's got big
You
wings,
could do that.
I'll just have to figure out how to sing.
I bet you'll be given a beautiful voice when you're there.
Why
You'll be
not?
granted a beautiful voice. If you want it, you can have it. And if that woman wants her meatballs, she can have her meatballs.
You know, years ago I worked as a secretary in a church. And the minister said something. It was a Church of Christ. And the minister said something. And I said, oh, well, I don't know. When I go to heaven and I meet St. Peter, he and I are going to talk about
I bet
this.
you will.
And the minister got very upset. And he said, you're not. That's not going to happen.
Oh, I bet it will. I bet it will. And you know, Jesus will come and sit with you too and have a chat.
Oh, God. I don't know. It's a whole trip.
It is. They can't put these laws. These laws don't mean anything.
All these restrictions.
All these restrictions, forget it. My God, I went to Catholic school. I'm amazed that I haven't had my hands beaten off my wrists. I could write with both hands though, because they tried to knock the left hand of Satan off of me. I was left-handed.
I kind of like Catholic school.
Did you? But
Well,
not
no,
you.
not then. I didn't
No.
like it. But now, when I teach reflexology
Oh,
and
Oh,
Reiki,
you do that at Catholic school?
what? Oh no,
Okay.
oh no. But when the students come in for reflexology or Reiki, I can always tell the ones that are recovering Catholics.
Okay.
And when you are a Catholic and you are a child, you really, those nunsies, they make you think. And you have to be able to memorize all that stuff, and you have to be able to know all this stuff. And then when you get to be an adult, you have to stop and think about all this stuff that you memorized. And then you have a lot of questions.
Well, you see how well I turned out after Catholic school.
I think you turned out great. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You have to have a springboard. You have to have a springboard to leap off.
Yeah.
You gotta say, hey, Sister Mary Elizabeth, that was a dumb question you made me learn the answer to.
I used to always ask, why can't animals go to heaven? Why don't they have? And she'd be like, don't even ask that question. They have no souls. I'm like, why do they have no souls?
Right.
Why do you think they have no souls?
I was exactly there.
And they were fighting with me. Of course they have souls. I knew better than her, and I'm right.
And then as an adult, you have to think through these things. Sister Mary Elizabeth was stuck in a lock in time.
Yes, they
and
were.
my dogs do have a soul.
Of course they do.
And my cats too.
Yeah, of course.
Because they talk to me.
Of course they do.
And if they talk and if they have eyes, they have a soul.
Yeah.
So there.
That's all we need to know.
I don't know. I don't know what's going. I don't know. People. Oh, we have only got 4 minutes left.
Oh.
Listen, do you want to tell anybody how to find you?
Oh, if you want to make an appointment, my Gmail is SusanFionaSaxman@gmail.com. SusanFiona Saxman@gmail.com.
And they come to Woodstock.
Come to Woodstock, and I have a little shop called Fiona where I do the readings.
Across the street from the Cumberland, from the side of the
purple
Cumberland.
side, and I do the readings in there.
Now, do you do your meetings always in the afternoons?
No, I could do mornings.
You can do morning meetings
Mornings.
and
I
afternoons.
usually do 11 a.m., 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I could do any time, really.
In the afternoons.
Yeah.
And your beautiful dog.
Oh my God! And my dog is an angel. She is.
Does she go to the meetings?
She's always with me.
That's
you know what
important.
she does? She sleeps during every single reading behind me. My dog is named Ghost, and she is exceptional. She's like an angel. You've seen her. She's
I love
amazing.
Ghost. I adore Ghost.
Ghost sleeps during every session with people. She just sits down quietly and sleeps. And sometimes I feel I get information from her, particularly about other dogs.
Oh, I think she goes into a trance.
She goes into a trance.
Because her personality, she is very bubbly. And that doesn't include a nap.
No, and then she goes up to people who come in and she'll give them hugs. She'll put her paws on either side, as you see her do, and she'll nuzzle them and close her eyes. Not with everyone, but most people who need it.
Oh, I think that is too cute.
And I've actually had people weeping when they meet her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's definitely
She's
very
not a normal
special.
dog.
Very special.
And all dogs are exceptional, but she's really not a normal dog.
Well, listen, we're down to 1 minute.
Yes.
Please go to YouTube and see Susan Fiona Saxman on YouTube, and you can find her on Susan Fiona Saxman, or you can find her with Let's Live with Thurman Greco, and enjoy it very much.
you.
And subscribe on YouTube, and there's a book there that you can get, and I have a book as well. So we enjoyed having you this evening,
Thank
and
you.
we hope that you will come back every Friday, and I hope you'll come back again soon.
Yeah, next month, I think.
I think so. I think we went for the holidays.
The day after
We went for the
Thanksgiving, I think we
holidays.
did. We'll see what
And
happens.
thank you very much, Ellen. You guys did great.